strange, isn't it? Now, are your parents here? No. Well, then I believe I am precisely what your parents deserve. Oh, and by the way, who would like to hear something wildly inappropriate? I always like to start out with a little bit about myself, for those of you who are unfamiliar. As I said, my name is Arthur Greenleaf Holmes. I was born in the small English seaside town of Sherman-upon-Hemsley, sometime between the years 1547 and 1552, a period later to be known as the gay 1547s to 1552s. My father was an asswipe to William Capel, the 3rd Earl of Essex, and he immediately set about grooming me to take over the asswipery. But the life of an asswipe was not for me. So I fled to London, where I drifted between jobs, working first as a cocksuck, then as a bitch slap, and finally at my lowest point, falling in with a gang of turd burglars. One night, after a turd burglary gone horribly wrong, as opposed to the ones that go smoothly, I awoke in an alleyway, wearing a blood-stained burlap romper, and there I had discovered that I'd begun writing my first poems. This is one of the first poems I've ever written. It is entitled, Mother, Will My Stones Drop? A poem that I wrote before my testicles descended at the age of 32 years old. And I would like to recite this poem in the original pre-pubescent voice, which may be thematically consistent with where some of us are in our lives right now. Mother, will my stones drop ere I turn 29? I tire of this empty sack against my hairless thigh. And when will I awaken to find my mattress wet? It's happened to the other boys, but I've not known it yet. And will, and here we have a man already thumbing through the program for other options. And will my wanker bolden and shed its pinkish skin? And will it grow a hairy nest to spend its evenings in? Are we all right? Yeah. All right. It's not going to get better. And mother, what's a clitoris?
God.
By the way, that is spelled C-L-I-T-O-R-I-S, clitoris. Always helpful to look up words you're not familiar with. I was talking to him. And mother, what's a clitoris? And is it hard to find? My cousin said she'd show me hers if I would show her mine. Thank you very much.
That was dope.
Are we all right? Yeah. That was a bit of a warmer upper. And by now you probably have a sense of the downward trajectory that this show is going to take. And I would like to remind you all of that disclaimer at the top of the show, because you might have been thinking that I was trying to caution you against the use of the bad word. But this is poetry, is it not? And what you shall soon see is that in poetry, the bad word is much more benign than the perfectly good words that are employed in a conspiracy of horrific achievement. And so, would you like me to stop looking at you when I'm doing? I mean, would you like me to the show? Have I gone too far? Would you like me to pull it back a little bit?
Yeah.
Keep going.
Oh, thank you. 11! Is this all right?
Yeah,
They're fine. The parents are fine. How are you doing? My next poem shall be entitled Ode to a Child Adrift on a Sea of Parental Neglect. Child, I do feel bad that you're here, so I'm going to give you this $1. There's that laugh again. I really like how the women in this town laugh. They laugh differently than other places. Other places, women laugh like this. Here they laugh like this. Oh. I don't have $1. I will give it to you later on. I wanted to give you some money, but I have none. All right. My friends, I am very fond of prostitutes. I call many prostitutes friend. In fact, my favorite prostitute is a woman that goes only by the name...
Oh, my God.
Oh, ow! Now, this
Piece
poem
of shit.
is not for her because I'll be damned if anything rhymes with that name. So, I wrote a poem for my second favorite prostitute. Would you like to hear it? Aye. Right, this is gonna be a big hit with the 11-year-old, I'll tell you that. This poem is called Tavern Floor Tina. And here comes the woman from the Queen's Address with the watermelon in her hand, and I encourage her to spit seeds at all the players that she did not approve of during their performances, so I'm going to brace myself for a seed in my eye hole. Here we go. Tavern Floor Tina. Tavern Floor Tina, thou fen-sucking whore, with a mouth to be damned and a tongue to abhor. When your meat meets her mouth, well, it's meat mouth galore. Ah, Tavern Floor Tina, lives a worm in your core.
I'm loving this shit.
Good, I'm not done. She'll give you a wink and she'll drag you upstairs, and before you can think, you'll be caught unawares, elbow deep in the pink, with 2 thumbs up your rear. Ah, Tavern Floor Tina, your sink's full of hair. She'll give you... Are we all right? Are we all right? How's the 11-year-old? Are you all right? Fine, good for you. That's how I got my start. She'll give you a poor bone every pound that she's got. Then she'll slather your dome till your tonsils are hot. You'll need time all alone just to burp up the clot. Ooh, Tavern Floor Tina, I'd just as soon not. Thank you very much.
That was savage.
You all right? What's all this?
This guy's a gangster.
Those are some very mixed messages, madam. And I do feel bad about the child in the audience, so I want to give you this. This is one of my filthy poems in a greeting card. I want to read this to you. That is for you to take home. Actually, that's for you to take to school. Yes, applaud that child's impending delinquency. Yeah.
Join us.
Are you two together?
Nope.
No, you're not. That's good. What about you two? Are you together? You look at each other for the first time.
We're friends. We're friends. Friends.
Just friends?
We came here together.
Oh, you came here together?
Yes.
Well, what I want you to not do is to turn around, because you will see a Scotsman sitting with his legs open in the benches behind you.
Not bad.
That's a big hello, isn't it? Right. My next poem shall be entitled Ode to a Fuzzy Little Nativity Scene.
Shit. I just got.
Let's see if there's some luck in the show. What about you? Are you two together?
I just got
Are you married? No. How long have you been together? 1 year. That's good. Perfect. Good
I was not expecting that at all.
antebellum to a relationship, I believe. Has this man ever written you a love poem? Not a poem. What did he write you? A love letter. Do you remember it? No. It must have been a sweeping achievement. Earlier today, I saw the two of you together, and I watched as you walked away from his side, and I watched this man follow you with his eyes. And after a while, I watched as he stooped down and plucked a leaf off of the ground. And then he scribbled some words on the back of that leaf, and he flung the leaf to the wind, and the wind, madam, the wind carried that leaf to me. And on the back of that leaf was a poem. It was a love poem that this man wrote for you, madam.
Oh, no.
It is a love poem entitled, I Bought a Cheese and Thought of You.
Oh my.
Did you just finish, madam? Oh, it's spreading, isn't it? That's what we call a sympathetic orgasm, my friend. I bought a cheese and thought of you. The meat was white and dappled blue. Its rind a bead with a musky dew. I bought a cheese and thought of you. I bought a cheese and thought of thee. Thy cream-poured flesh, sweet ecstasy, between those thighs would roiling see. I bought a cheese and thought of thee. You know, if you really want the Renaissance, you have to have the sound of children screaming in the dark. I thought of thee and thought it fine to pair thee with the deep red wine, to spread thee on the crusts of time. I thought of thee, a thought divine. I held my cheese and thought inside, how wrong my love be so denied. My cheese grew soft and warm. I sighed. I held my cheese, thus turned the tide. I took my cheese and thought of you. Wild appetites engorged anew. The flesh gave part, thus one was two. I took my cheese, to hell with you. Thank you, One of the things that you may have noticed about this show is that I'm not simply a purveyor of limericks. I don't write many limericks, and yet I don't mean to disparage limericks either. Limericks do certain things. For one thing, they entertain us, they make us laugh, but they also present us with recognizable poetic structures. And when we encounter them, we start to realize that poetry is a very natural means of expression. It is a fact that every culture that we're aware of has produced poetry. And that's why I sometimes think that we write rhymes to help us remember things. Rhymes such as I before E except after C. Or beer before liquor, never sicker. Or double-jointed cabin boy with buttery lips and big brown bedroom eyes at night. Sailor's delight. Why did you point and laugh at him?
That's
oh,
bad.
you're laughing at you. And why were they laughing at you?
Because I make a lot of weird faces.
You make a lot of weird faces.
Yeah.
Come on up stage. Come on the stage and make a weird face for them. Come on, give the people what they want. We want to see a weird face.
Say something disappointing and then I'll make a genuine.
Say something disappointing.
You're at
Make
the
me
show.
disappointed at you again.
Haven't you been watching the show?
I made face a lot.
Something disappointing. Turkey legs this day only will be $12.99. It's not disappointing?
No.
Don't you want to pay more for a turkey leg? That's so
You
disappointing.
need to be sickening, like earlier.
You want sickening?
Yes.
Now we're on to something. Madam, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most wildly inappropriate of my poems, what would you like to hear?
13.
13.
13.
Slut.
Only on the internet.
Whoa, whoa. Oh no.
I'm not disappointed, by the way, in that.
I hope everybody else heard that. She said, only on the internet.
This is a poem that I wrote, as I have written all my poems, as I am a poet. I say that because every now and then someone asks me if I write my own poems. In fact, today someone said, hey, there's that poem guy. There's a word for that, by the way. This is a poem that I wrote, as I've written all my poems, as I'm a poet. It is called I Built My Love a Menstrual Hut.
Look what
It
you
is a
did.
13, and I really mean this. If at any point during the recital of this poem, if you find it's too much or I've gone too far, try to keep in mind that that fucker asked for it. I built my love a menstrual hut. I built it out of clay, with earthen halls and wattled walls. I built it far away, that I might have some solitude when twixt her thighs she leaks. Away, my love, get thee to hut, and stay you for a week, and stay a while till calm returns, that I won't have to bear thy grinding voice and hissing tongue that claws my inner ear, for I've got work to do, you know, and I can't keep my head. My love, she bursts in tears, then flings herself upon the bed. And oh, what stench, my bleeding one! 'Tis like a stagnant fen. It smells as if late nether clam hath turned itself again. Oh, there's the face you were looking for. Are we all right? Have I gone too far with this?
No.
Keep going?
Keep going.
The dogs have gathered at the door. They think I've slain a lamb. The vultures fix their baleful eyes upon that wounded clam. They think I'm making... Oh, did you like the clam? He loves the clam. You're laughing. You're one of the few people laughing at this point. Everyone else is giving me what I would only describe as the Christian smile. Oh yeah, clam. They think I'm making dinner for the stench hangs thick and strong, and if I had a bouillon cube, they wouldn't be far wrong. So low her lips, they leave a trail, as from a pilgrim slug. Must she drag her meat flaps across my oriental rug? Too much snow? Keep going?
Aye.
Oi.
Like, I do like this. The couples that are sitting together, the man is laughing. He turns to the woman he's with, who doesn't quite measure up to his level of enthusiasm. Where was it? Oh yes, meat flaps. With panties at her ankles, my love shuffles across the room. It's boo-hoo-hoo and nag, nag, nag. Each time she's on her moon. Almighty Christ, her voice is shrill, like nails against a slate. And I can't find a quiet place to go and masturbate. I'm sorry. Don't ask her for a reach around. She'll beat you with a rock. I suppose I'm to apologize because I have a cock. But I need sex. Don't ever ask for sex like that either. But I need sex. Yet so much blood, 'tis more than I can take. If blood was what I wanted, hell, I'd fucking uncooked steak.
Savage.
Don't laugh at that. There's a child in the audience. So out to fling thy changing moods and wring thine anxious hands. Go hence to burn thy dinner too and nag some other man. I hie thee to that sodden hut to wail without surcease. Sweet minstrel hut, I built thee well. At last I'll have my peace. That was a period piece. I'm sorry, I've fought that for as long as I could. But I would like to point out that everything you've heard in this show is part of one of these 2 volumes of complete poetry. This is the first one. It is called A Gentleman's Treasury of Bedtime Verses to Sodomize By. It is 80 pages of poetry, wildly inappropriate, deeply offensive, and I think you'd enjoy it very much. This one is the newly released 2nd volume of poetry. It is called The Vulgaria of Arthur Greenleaf Holmes. It is 71 pages, wildly inappropriate, deeply offensive, and you know what? It's really nice to masturbate to in a Dairy Queen. I found out in Fulton on Wednesday. I've also got 2 CDs. The live CD, which is 53 minutes, but this one sounds like a PBS documentary, but it goes utterly to hell. It's set to chamber music and narration, and on this CD, the poem I built, My Love a Menstrual Hut, is set to the song Ave Maria. All of these are funny. I'm happy to sign them, and I will be in the back of the audience at the end of the show. Happy to sell and sign and really minister to your sense of perversion. Is that enough poetry for one show? No. To be honest with you,
Bless you.
there are times when I feel that I should apologize for my own sense of humor, but no one has the luxury of choosing a sense of humor. Flannery O'Connor once said that a man may choose what he writes, but he may not choose what he makes live. And I don't know why I find such themes amusing. Even when I go out to dine, I feel compelled to order my eggs cooked doggy style. I am telling you this because I've given you a 13. And I have no idea which direction this show shall go from here. But I would like to ask you, madam, because you have a sense of dignity otherwise lacking from the rest of this crowd. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most wildly inappropriate of my poems, what would you like to hear?
14.
Oh. Is that what you want?
14.
You want a 14?
Yeah!
Is that really what you want? Because what I want is an end to world hunger and a double-jointed Asian with circular breathing skills.
Circular breathing.
14. All right, well.
He's the most savage person I've ever seen.
What do I do for 14? All right, just go with that. The oldies but the goodies. First show of the day, why not oldie but goodie day? It's a poem that I wrote. It is called The Hearthside Conversation. I only ask you give this poem a few verses to warm up, and on a scale of 1 to 10, this poem is the moral equivalence of the papal reign of Sergius III. Look it up, you heathens. All right, children, wait. Oh, wait for the children to go. Keep going, children. Keep going, keep going. Choose life. Where go you, my father? Good father, where now? You pace by the door and you furrow your brow. Good son, I go nowhere. I stay here with thee. I thought I heard voices and got up to see. But father, sweet father, you smell of cologne. Your bodkin is washed and your mustache is combed. You glance at your watch and you pull at your beard. Where go you, my father? Why stay you not here? Wee daughter of mine, why speak you this way? I'll soon go to sleep. I've had a long day. I'm not going out. I stay here instead. Now, please, my good children, repair you to bed. Oh, husband of mine, where go you, my love? You've saddled the horse and you put on your gloves. What business should take you away from our home? Tell us, dear husband, what bids thee to roam? God damn it to hell. If you must know the truth, I'm off to the whorehouse to pump me a few. I'm hard as a millstone, but what do you care? You've not flashed that yam hole in over a year. You notice the horse and my gloves and my watch, but you don't seem to notice this bulge in my crotch. I suppose it's not worthy of mention from you. Well, screw it, I'm horny. And here's what I'll do. I'll grab me a whore and I'll lift up her skirt and I'll pound that sweet meat till my testicles hurt. I don't care if she's toothless, obese, or infected. My poor little fatty's been fed and neglected. And if you never talk baby talk to your own penis, you've got to try it sometime. Get back here, you bastards. You ask so you'll hear. I'll slam my good ham in the first dairy here. I've got buckets of chowder just waiting to fly. I've never done anal, but I'm willing to try. I'm sorry I pointed at you. I would never, ever do such a... I'm not going to. No. I might pleasure a lesbian. I just gave the lesbian a monocle for some reason. I might pleasure a lesbian. That doesn't help either. Or fondle a moose. Or fist up a nun till she's sloppy and loose. I know. That's what a 14 fucking looks like. I'll find me a milkmaid, I'll fill her pail, and I'll bibble her lips with my beefy shillelagh. I'll find me a bumpkin who's stupid and dull, and I'll dick knock the very last tooth from his skull. You know, I would like to say something about poetry at this point. That's what poetry does. It furnishes us with new imagery. And what is a new image but a new thought? And how many of us have ever thought of dick knocking a tooth out before? Well, there it is.
What?
Oh, well, you've done more than think about it. I can tell by your teeth. No hanging fruit, right? The rest of us, there it is, and now you have thought of it. And hasn't your world expanded just a little bit? In other words, we've all been unique. united in this poem. United in dick knocking, yes. United nonetheless, and for that I say hurrah for poetry. Shall I continue?
Yes.
I might ass rape a Quaker. I did that line in Pennsylvania, and that line fucking killed. Ass rape a Quaker or cream pie an elf. And there's things I might do when I'm all by myself. I might put on a bodice and stroll by the docks and give them a scare when I unleash my cock. Poetic license. And if I get bored, hell, I'll butter a midget. Tickle his wink hole. And watch how he fidgets. And by the way, when you end a line of poetry with the word midget, you rather paint yourself into a corner, don't you? I'm sick of this house. I'm sick of charades. I'm sick of Parcheesi. I want to get laid, so screw you. I'm leaving this mirthless gray hut. I shan't be back soon, so please, don't wait up. Is that enough poetry for one show?
No.
Oh, I know that voice.